Here's a fully developed, cinematic, and heart-touching story based on your title, crafted for a 1,000-word YouTube video style. The day she stood on the curb, clutching a single box of her belongings, tears streaking her dust-covered cheeks, I couldn't look away. The eviction notice fluttered in the wind, pinned to her small, worn apartment door, and in that moment the world seemed unbearably cruel. I had seen tough times before, but seeing someone lose everything with no place to go hit me differently. Something inside me snapped. Without thinking, I walked up to her, my heart pounding, and said, "Move in with me." She froze, staring at me with a mixture of disbelief, anger, and fear. "That's not funny," she said sharply, her voice shaking, her pride defending itself against the weight of humiliation. But I knew she didn't need jokes. She needed hope, and I was determined to prove I meant it. Before I tell you how everything changed, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of human connection, please hit like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Ripple of Kindness. Stories like this remind us that even small acts can change someone's entire world. She was a young woman in her late 20s, with sharp eyes that had seen too much disappointment, yet carried a flicker of resilience. Her hair was tangled from days without care, and the jacket she wore looked years older than her. She had always kept to herself, which made her sudden eviction even more heartbreaking. I later learned she had been working 2 jobs, barely making rent, and had fallen behind due to a medical emergency that wiped out her savings. Watching her gather the few possessions she could salvage, I felt a helpless rage at the unfairness of it all. I offered a ride, but she refused. That was when I blurted out the only words that felt right: "Move in with me." Her laughter was bitter, almost painful. She shook her head, repeating, "You can't be serious." I didn't blame her. It sounded absurd, a stranger offering sanctuary in the midst of one of life's cruelest blows. But I couldn't walk away, not when she stood there, trembling with the weight of the world pressing down on her. I followed her to the edge of the curb, helping her lift her box into the back of my car, insisting gently, persistently, until she gave in, more out of exhaustion than trust. The drive to my apartment was silent, the air thick with unspoken questions and fears. She clutched her box like a shield, and I realized how fragile hope can feel when it's been nearly destroyed. When we arrived, I could see her hesitation immediately. My apartment wasn't grand, it was small, modest, and messy, but it was safe, warm, and full of light. I opened the door and simply said, "It's yours for as long as you need." She stared at me, searching for the punchline, the trap, the hidden joke, but there was none. I showed her her room, cleared a space on the shelf for her things, and left her in the quiet of her new, albeit temporary, home. That night, I lay awake thinking about the fragility of life, how a single act could tilt someone's world from despair to hope. Over the next few days, I learned about her life in fragments, her love for painting, her fear of judgment, her quiet strength. She began to open up slowly, cautiously, sharing stories she had buried under embarrassment and shame. I watched as the walls she had built around herself, brick by brick, slowly began to crumble. There were moments of tension, of awkwardness, of misunderstandings, but there were also laughter-filled nights, shared meals, and small victories that made the apartment feel alive again. It wasn't easy. Trust doesn't rebuild overnight, and past trauma has a long shadow. But the effort mattered, and every smile she gave felt like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. Weeks turned into months, and what started as a temporary shelter became something deeper, a partnership built on mutual respect and quiet support. She started working again, gradually catching up with bills, rekindling friendships she had lost, and even creating new artwork inspired by the sense of safety and possibility she hadn't felt in years. One afternoon, she painted a portrait of her new life, with vivid colors and sweeping lines, and handed it to me silently. Her eyes glistened, and I understood then that the gesture was her way of saying, without words, that hope had returned. I often think back to that first moment on the curb, the mix of despair and disbelief in her gaze. It was a reminder that sometimes courage isn't about grand gestures. It's about stepping into someone's pain, offering a lifeline, and believing in the possibility of change when no one else does. And for her, And for me, that leap of faith transformed everything. If this story touched your heart even a little, please engage with this video. Like, share, and leave a comment. Let others know that compassion still exists in the world. Your small action could inspire someone else to reach out, to help, to believe in second chances. Before I sign off, I have a special request. Comment below the word hope if you believe even one act of kindness can change a life. Remember, sometimes the simplest words, like "move in with me," can carry the weight of 1,000 prayers and heal the deepest wounds. If you want, I can also make a slightly punchier, cinematic version with more suspenseful beats and emotional cliffhangers at the end of each paragraph, perfect for maximizing YouTube retention. This would make it ideal for a 1,000-word, story-driven video. Do you want me to do that next?